Talkin Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I'm sorry if I blew out your eardrums. I'm just really excited because the Jets have a brand new friggin' quarterback, Justin Fields, 2 years, $40 million. I'm excited to chop it up with you guys. This is Bobblehead Ryan here to start things off. I've got my lovely co-pilot filling in for Mr. Dom C, who will be joining us at the 10 o'clock hour over on Green Beans channel, the 10 o'clock mock. Once this stream ends, we're going to push you guys all over there, and I'm excited to see what those guys are going to do with the 10 o'clock mock and how it could look different based on the moves we did or did not make right now. So, Tigo, thank you so much for being here tonight with me. Give me your thoughts on how you're feeling about Justin Fields being the quarterback that the Jets have decided to hitch their wagon to for the next 2 years.
Not great. Look, I don't want to be the negative Nelly and I've said my bit on the whole Justin Fields thing, right? It's just like, this is where we're at. They've made this decision and they're going to have to live and die by this decision. But like right now, the day we made the signing, I'm not happy about the signing because like I said it before, like they doubled and tripled and quadrupled and quintupled down on winning games, and that's what they want to do. And I wanted to win games, and I don't think Justin Fields is a good quarterback, and I don't necessarily see a path forward to like legitimately winning games with Justin Fields. And then my biggest fear is like, okay, like what happens if you win 7 games next year, which we know you can do with a bad quarterback. We won 7 games with Zach Wilson twice, right? And like what happens if you win 7 games and they fall for the bait and now you pass on a quarterback in 2026? And like that's my biggest fear is just like, oh, he did enough maybe, and it's just like I can see how this turns to disaster, and I'm sick and tired of losing, and I don't necessarily see the path towards winning right now. Give it a few weeks and the Gotham colored glasses will come over and the Stockholm syndrome will kick in, and I'll be like, we can do it. Freaking Justin Fields, we're running 60 times a game. But like right now, this is not the move. This is nowhere near the move that I wanted them to make.
So I want to hear, I'm going to give you my venting session on why I think you're just completely fucking wrong on everything you just said right there. But I also want to say I agree with you in the sense that like it would really suck to win 7 games, not have good quarterback play, and have them feel like he's the guy of the future and pass on a quarterback. That is the doomsday situation 10 times out of 10. I'm cool with the Jets winning as many games as possible. We win 7, 8, 9, 10 games, and we are so far back that we're like, oh man, it's going to cost us a lot to move up for a quarterback. That's fine. I'd rather trade up for the quarterback, win games.
Same.
Because I do think this move was all about the rest of the team. And let me explain this. I think if you go after a Wentz, you go after a Mariota, you go after someone like that, you're throwing your hands up and you're punting on the season, which a lot of Jet fans do want to do. They're fine with getting the top draft pick in 2026, but I don't think the players on this team are. I think Brees, Garrett, Sauce, JJ, all these guys that are, here, Sherwood, Quincy, they want to have an opportunity to maybe have a future guy. And I don't think they're blinded by the fact that Justin Fields has had a little rough go of it in the NFL and may not be the guy. But he gives you some hope and some credibility with guys that he's played with in college already, that this guy could turn it around. We just saw Sam Darnold turn it around. We just saw Geno Smith turn it around. We saw Baker Mayfield turn it around. And like, we just saw Jalen Hurts win a Super Bowl playing the sort of similar style quarterbacking that Justin Fields is probably going to be asked to play. It's going to be a lot of beating the shit out of people with running the football and just make enough plays to be efficient. Now, the passing side of things is where things kind of go awry, but we were just talking to Jalen Milroe on the sideline of the Combine. I feel like both these players are very similar in that like people get angry that they can't throw the ball. I think there's definitely a possibility the Jets end up with Milroe at some point.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's going to have to happen third round or later at that point. What'd you say?
Go look at your phone in the group chat. I literally sent what the mock draft is, what the draft is going to be. I predicted it perfectly.
Did
you want to
do
go look
like
at it
recently?
while you were live? While I was live.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up.
But Ryan, here's the thing.
So he's saying Membu. I like Membu. Revel in the second. Interesting. I like the corner. You're saying at 73, the Jets get Milroe, and then Jamari Caldwell. I don't hate this draft. I'll be honest.
No. Me, like, again, like it's a good draft, but like this is ultimately the problem for like everybody involved with this whole situation. And I think this is where I get to. It's just like winning games fixes everything, right? Because like I don't know how much you've listened to the Julian Edelman, like the podcast that he does, and he brings all of his expatriate guys on. And like you hear some of the stories and they're like laughing and they're looking back at that as positive times. But like you hear those stories and you dig into it, it's like, no. Like that is not a good environment. But they didn't care because they were winning, right? And I think we see this with Pittsburgh. Like Pittsburgh is like a perfect example of this. Is like how many stories are coming out of Pittsburgh in the last 10 years? Very few. But then like AB leaves Pittsburgh and he's a shit show. Le'Veon Bell leaves Pittsburgh and he's a head case. And like everybody who leaves Pittsburgh, yeah, like everybody who leaves Pittsburgh, you're just like, oh, like these guys are crazy. And that's totally respect to like Mike Tomlin and his ability to manage like insanely complicated and whatever like personalities. And that's credit to him. But like it also is credit to like winning covers up everything. And I think this is the issue with it is like, I don't fundamentally understand where this idea of hope or potential comes with Justin Fields. We've seen him for 5 years be absolutely horrible. Like just not NFL worthy quarterback play. So is the hope, is it because he's 25? Well, so is Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well,
yeah, but so is Zach.
Zach after,
so is Trey Lance. So is
Zach
Matt
after
Jones.
Sean Payton. Zach after a year with Sean Payton. I understand a team rolling the dice on him. Like I get why Miami did that. That's a move where he's like, okay,
but he's
Zach Wilson's probably pissed off at the Jets. He probably learned something under Sean Payton for a year. He's going to sit back. He's not going to be asked to start. He's going to come in relief at some point. And like, he might be a viable backup quarterback at some point. Like,
yeah,
at least with Fields.
But you see the difference? The difference is that we're not talking about Zach leading a franchise and being potentially having a turnaround. That's the difference here. And like, let's not act. And this is the biggest issue. Let's not act like the problems that Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, and Baker Mayfield had were the problems that Justin Fields had. Like totally Sam Darnold, different. When Sam 100%. Left New York, there was a legitimate conversation of, do we keep him or do we let him go to reset the quarterback contract? It wasn't Sam was dog water, so we have to move on from him and go to Zach. It was, no, we're 3 years into Sam, and restarting the quarterback contract makes a ton of sense, especially with the new regime. So we're going to send him to the worst team in the NFL, the worst managed team in the NFL. And of course he didn't work. And then he had to go his quarterback rehab in San Francisco. And then he goes to the Vikings. That's not the same situation as Justin Fields. Justin Fields never had his quarterback rehab. Justin Fields never fixed his throwing motion.
So who did you want as quarterback? Who did you want as quarterback this offseason, if not Fields? That would, because my whole argument here isn't necessarily predicated on Fields can be the guy. I think there's a lower percentage chance that that's going to happen, and more of a percentage chance that this was made because of all the other guys in the locker room. I think Garrett Wilson wanted to play with Fields. I think Ruckert wanted to play with Fields. I think there is a...
So we're letting the players now run the team?
For a year,
Why
yes,
were we
absolutely.
complaining
Garrett
about
Wilson's
Rodgers?
The future of this team. If he's going to be happy for a year because we signed fucking Justin Fields, yes, 100%. 110%.
And then he's going to be unhappy when we win 3 games, and now he's going to want to trade, and he's not going to want to sign the extension because
I don't
we
think
went with the quarterback that he wanted?
Like, what other quarterback do you think there is? What other quarterback should the Jets have brought in that you think would have made Garrett Wilson happy?
Objectively better quarterbacks. Here's the list.
That Garrett Wilson would be happy with.
I don't care about Garrett Wilson being happy.
I care about
summer.
Garrett Wilson.
No. Listen. You got to be happy. Garrett Wilson's got to be happy week 18 when you win 9 or 10 games. That's what matters. I don't care about him being happy in the summer. He's not going anywhere. But objective quarterbacks that and I'm not saying that these are options that we should have gone, but these are guys that on a per game basis last year who played snaps were better than Justin Fields and were all available. Marcus Mariota was better when he started for the Washington Commanders. Tyrod Taylor was better. Tyrod Taylor was better for the Jets when he played his snaps. Totally, but he's not going to start because you're paying Justin Fields $30 million.
I agree.
Russell Wilson was better for the Pittsburgh Steelers than Justin Fields' world. I agree. He's Russell a cuck.
I'm
not saying I want him.
Side, this is just as much a move about the culture than it is about
Kirk Cousins. What a culture!
Kirk Cousins
Win games,
threw dog
fix
shit
his
in our
culture.
face. He was like, we offered him a fully guaranteed fucking contract, and he said, "Oh no, sorry, not going to the Jets." He's not going to the Jets another time. Like that was not an option.
No, but
Russell Wilson had his own fucking office in Denver. That's like the privilege of all privilege. We just got out of like the Aaron Rodgers situation. Like we're not going that route. Mariota doesn't
Cousins
provide
was better.
the
Jimmy
hope
G
that a
was
young
better.
25-year-old quarterback
The
does. Like I
corpse of
understand the
Joe
issues
Flacco
with
was
Justin
better.
Fields.
The corpse of Joe Flacco was better. Jameis Winston was better. Hell, Danny Dimes for the 10 games he started was better than Justin Fields in the 6 games he started. Like, Danny
We got
Dimes
to see
now
Danny
holds...
Dimes in New York, though, and that's the thing. Like, all these guys saw him right there. Like, you can see, like, Garrett Wilson and Ruckert played with Justin Fields in college. Like
in college against
I understand
Syracuse.
that, but they played football with him. They trust him, and like, I think there's something to that. I really do.
What happens when the Boo Birds come out week 3?
They're
still going to stand with their
Boo Birds in
boys?
New York all the time, regardless. Like it's a pressure cooker.
I totally
either way.
understand, but like
then they just stink and we get a top draft pick. Like that's the beauty
I'm
of Justin
tired of
Fields.
stinking. I'm tired of losing games.
I don't want to lose games
That's
either.
the point.
But like, I don't think signing someone that the team isn't excited about. Like you want the players to be excited. I think the players are excited for Fields. I think Brees is going to have a much better season this season.
When the Lions traded for Jared Goff, was that team excited about Jared Goff?
No, I think they were bummed they lost
come
Stafford.
in and they were bummed out that they lost Stafford and they downgraded at quarterback and then they said, oh, wait, this guy can operate this offense that we're running. Oh, wait, this guy can lead us to the promised land. And do you think those guys are upset with it now? I don't care how
was
you
there
feel
a number
about your
one
quarterback
overall
in the
pick
summer.
quarterback that was available for the New York Jets? Like Jameis Winston's out there, but it's not like the same degree of like, oh, this guy came from a McVay offense and we're also getting a first-round pick in addition
Came
to...
from Stefanski's offense. Stefanski is a quarterback guru. Stefanski is an offensive powerhouse. Like this is the thing is like Jameis Winston was all like objectively better than Justin Fields last year, and you can win games with Jameis Winston. The problem
how many games did the Browns win this year?
How many games did he play that he won? Like wasn't it like he played 8 games?
And how many games did he win?
Didn't he win like 4 of those games?
Did he? I don't think he even won that many games. Now you got me. I have no idea what.
Regardless of it, look at the stats. Just look at the stats. If you extrapolate the stats over 17 games for both of them, and then you do it on a per game basis, Jameis Winston was better statistically. Like,
I mean, I am not arguing that at all. Like I 100% believe Jameis Winston is a better quarterback than Justin Fields. So last year,
so why are we
he
paying
was 2-5?
Justin Fields $30 million?
2-5.
Okay.
Jameis Winston.
Okay, let me ask you this question. You put Jameis Winston in the Pittsburgh Steelers with that defense. He goes 4-2, right? It's the most expensive. It was the most expensive defense in the NFL last year. Ryan, you and I could have played quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first 6 weeks and gotten 4 wins.
I understand how good that defense is. I really do. I'm telling you, this season is not like, look, we want to win as many games as possible. But at the same time, I think everyone's probably on the realistic notion that 2026 is where we're getting our quarterback. Like, Justin Fields is a dart throw. Who knows? Like, this has a higher chance of it not working than working. And, like, at the very least, there's the youthful upside of it. Like, Jameis Winston winning games for us, like, I'm not going to believe Jameis Winston is our franchise quarterback after a year.
Shouldn't.
And you're still going to draft a quarterback. Like, I'd rather the floor of Fields than the floor of Winston when they both have relatively... I think Winston's easier to go through Fields' ceiling, but I think Fields does have a very high ceiling if he can get it all.
I don't think so. But the problem with Fields, and this is the ultimate issue that it ultimately comes back to, the problem with Fields is that he can't throw a ball. His throwing mechanics are bad, and it's been 5 years and it hasn't improved. His processing speed hasn't improved. His ability to handle pressure hasn't improved. His accuracy hasn't improved. Like, get away from all of that. Okay, yeah, he can run, but he also had 6 fumbles in 6 games. He also had 6 turnover-worthy plays in 6 games. Like, this is the thing that I think gets me really upset about the whole Fields thing, is this perceived upside. And it's just like, why is it just because he's young? Is at the same age. Why isn't he getting the benefit of the doubt and being like, well, he was in San Francisco and then he took a couple years sitting behind Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy and he's a Super Bowl winning coach. Why is it that we're not talking about Trey Lance getting $30 million to be a starter somewhere?
Because Trey Lance and Garrett Wilson didn't play together. That flat out, I think that's a major factor in this whole thing. I really do.
And if that's the case, that is an even bigger indictment on this coaching staff and on this general manager.
For a year?
Are you
if
really
you're
letting
you have
are
a
you
punt
really
year?
letting
Is Trey Lance
a
giving you enough of the
wide
like
receiver
I'm excited?
dictate
Like
who the quarterback
you can
is?
sell me bullshit on Justin Fields. You're not going to sell me bullshit on Trey Lance.
They're the same bullshit. You're just looking at one and thinking it's shinier.
But they played together in college.
No, it is.
Tell you.
Who cares?
I wish I could freeze you.
Who cares?
Damn it.
Like, 𝐒𝐮 𝐂 and Zach Wilson played together in college too. Do we care? Are they moving heaven and earth to get Zach Wilson to be the heir apparent in the Rams? Like, Zach's not a good quarterback. Like, what are we talking about here? Just because they played together 5 years ago, now that's going to translate to a completely different league where the speed is faster and
I'm only
I played
trying
Little
to
League with a
sell
couple
this
of
to
guys
Garrett.
too, but I'm not making it to the MLB. Go win football games. That'll sell everything to Garrett.
Okay.
Like,
fine. We're going to win football games with Justin Fields and bite me. You guess what? You know what? I don't have to apologize to 𝐃𝐨𝐦 anymore because 𝐃𝐨𝐦 told me Aaron Rodgers is going to Seattle. And clearly that's not the case because they got Sam Darnold.
Whoa. I said, watch out for Aaron to Seattle. And you said there's no way that Seattle moves on from Geno. Why would they ever do that? You're stupid. That's what you said. So the apology isn't because I said Aaron to Seattle. The apology is because I told you Geno wasn't going to stick around and you said I was dumb. And like, I don't want to, like, to be clear, I don't want to have the Justin Fields conversation anymore. I'm upset. I'll get over it. But like, there's obviously a path forward. You have to believe in Tanner Engstrand and what he's going to do. And like, at this point, you try to build what the Philadelphia Eagles did, right? Like, let's not kid ourselves. Justin Fields is not Jalen Hurts. Like, let's not disrespect Jalen Hurts by saying that Justin Fields is Jalen Hurts. He's not. But we can run the ball 50 times a game. And I'm sorry, if you go 22 personnel, Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Justin Fields, with insert whoever our starting tight end is and whoever our second tight end is, and make sure those mofos can block, and you get a run blocking tight end, you run the ball 55 times a game, you time of possession 42 minutes, and ground and pound like the old days back Curtis Martin was here, and I'll be back on board. I just don't think you can win in the NFL that way. I think the Eagles are the anomaly, not the standard.
We're going to prove that wrong this year. Blitz Crew comes in and says, if using PFF, need to correct the third round. So PFF still has has not updated our correct selection. Yeah. So we can take a look at that.
You got to force that trade.
We should we're going to do a mock draft. We're going to do a mock draft tonight because we want to talk a little bit about the free agency stuff because there's so much going on and I really wanted to get into an argument with 𝐃𝐨𝐦. We've been fighting in our group chat all day. And it's spilling out.
Fighting. I've just been sad. Because I wanted my team to win football games.
River. Comics and stuff says, trash, take 𝐃𝐨𝐦, even at this point. Good. Yeah, Comics is on my side. Brian says, it would be the most Jets thing ever if Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere and wears 12 again and his MVP 8 was the problem. Yeah,
I'm telling you, he's going to go to Pittsburgh and he's going to win 10 games.
He's going to have a good season. It's all the stuff that we saw at the end of the year where it's like, okay, Olu Fashanu in place of Tyron, the play calling changed, and Aaron got healthy post-bye, and he started looking good. Like, outside of the Buffalo game where things went, like, horrible, he was looking pretty good post-bye. I think it was purely a decision on, like, hey, the coaching staff, the GM, everything's changed. I think it's better if we just split now. I think that was ultimately the calculation, and I think they didn't feel like they could have control of the locker room if Rodgers was still here. And there's clearly some bad feelings, after the season in some capacity. Whether it's Garrett or not or whatever.
But according to you, we just ceded the locker room to Garrett.
Yeah, I'd rather concede it to Garrett. I think I'd rather have Garrett be happy and here for a long time because Garrett's a fucking stud. He really is.
Totally. This isn't me trying to shit on Garrett, but like, dude, you're a fourth-year wide receiver. Like, I'm not letting you pick the quarterback. Like, chillax. You weren't blameless last year either.
For a year.
It won't be a year, Ryan. That's the problem. It
Light
won't
boys.
be a year. It's going to be 2 years, and we're not going to take the guy in 2026, and we're going to take too small to hold a burrito hands Jalen Milroe in the third round this year. And
he's got 9.5 inch hands, 𝐃𝐨𝐦. It's different. Cam Ward's going to go number one, and Cam Ward's got 9 inch hands.
We're going to pass on Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying to draft Cam Ward.
No. I'm just saying. If the burrito comment is like the reason you don't take Jalen Milroe, Cam Ward's going to go number one overall. He's got smaller hands.
And to be fair, Sir Kenny of the House Pickett, the Knight of Small Hands, has just become Lord of Siberia, right? In 1 year with Kevin Stefanski. So maybe Tiny Hands doesn't matter.
I think it does. Flight Boy says, cry me a river, Tigo. Thank you. I got people on my side tonight. Swamp says, we're the Jets. We run quarterbacks, not make them better. Swamp, that is very sad. And I don't disagree, but we're changing it because Aaron Glenn is here and everything's turning around, and I'm going to take my hopium right in the friggin' arm. Shoot me straight in the veins with it. Candlejack says, Tigo giving the Fields truthers that harsh truth. Wow, Candlejack is on your side. Look, I understand the rationale. I'm telling you what the actual rationale for doing it is, because I think the whole plan is, I don't want to say to tank, because I think they do want to win, but I think it's selling hope to the players on the field and ending up with a good option at quarterback in 2026, whether that's Justin Fields proving them wrong or drafting a guy high. I think it's a tank without needing to tank. And that's the money that's being offered up in a contract to Fields right now is the sacrificial, like, this is what it's going to take to do that for a season. I think ticket sales are an issue. I think there's a lot of issues that go into this whole calculus. And Fields, I think, does provide more hope than someone like Mariota coming in or Carson Wentz coming in, even if both those guys could have a higher floor at quarterback. Got 𝐃𝐨𝐦 in here. Says, do you smell a 4-win season? I hope not. I don't smell a 4-win season. I don't. I think if you could win 7 games with Zach Wilson for 2 of the years, I think the Jets can absolutely... Look, I don't know if the Jets are going to get to 7 wins this year. I really don't. I want entertainment. I want to see... I just want to be entertained. Could we win? Sure. We're going to win 12 games. We're going to win 13 games. It's happening. Justin Fields is going to pop off. We're going to have a zillion yards on the ground. These glasses may not look tinted green, but they are.
Oh, they
absolutely.
do.
They're very tinted green. Sam comes in and says, Justin Fields has not improved as a quarterback. How does he help us evaluate our passing game? What about Fields demonstrates football intelligence? Please answer. Why are we interviewing Jalen Milroe and putting as much emphasis on him if he's not the exact same style quarterback that Justin Fields is? I think the quarterback they're going after is a quarterback that drove them crazy when he was in Chicago, and just how hard it is to defend against a running style quarterback like that, like a Jalen Hurts. I think you hope to train the quarterback into a guy, or train enough efficiency into the guy, high percentage throws, things close to the line of scrimmage, take advantage of your screen game. Can he push the ball downfield? Maybe. Look, he might miss everything. Like, he might have a hard time hitting water if he's standing in a boat. Like, that might be a thing. We saw it with Zach. We saw it with, like, a bunch of other quarterbacks, too. So, like, I really do think they're trying to sell the hope more than anything else. I'm not blind to the fact that I think Justin Fields might not turn out the right way. Bah. Bearded says, Glenn knows Fields' abilities better than any of us. See, this is what I'm saying. As a defensive coordinator, having to go against Justin Fields, I think there was probably something like his defenses have held Fields in check for the most part. But I'm sure he's going into game meetings saying like, man, this Fields guy, he's going to give us fits over and over and over again. And I think that was part of the decision, along with Garrett and along with like not having a crazy high investment, the 21st highest paid quarterback. You got to pay to play, unfortunately. Like, you could have gone the really cheap route, but I think that indicates that you're tanking more than this move does. But this move could achieve the tank without you, like, admitting it. And that's kind of where I'm ultimately on this. And hopefully he turns out all right. He's a low risk, high reward type move.
It's not a high reward. That's the problem. Fields beat Glenn once in 3 years.
All right. Still could be hard to play against him. They might be saying like, wow, that Bears offense is terrible. Schematically is horrible. Like, why are they doing this with Justin Fields? If this were me, I would be doing this with Justin Fields. Like, that was probably part of the conversation.
But then the good head coach benched Fields for another bad quarterback and never put him back on the field.
Hey,
because we know Chicago was badly coached, but you can't say that about Pittsburgh. Like, you can't.
I think Mike Tomlin doesn't know what he's doing at the quarterback position.
Why is it that you can genuinely say that? He's had one bad quarterback. He's
only had one good
shot.
quarterback.
No, but he's had one shot at quarterback. And still,
You
even
knew
with one
Big
shot
Ben was
at
moving
quarterback,
on at one point.
Totally. Look, but Big Ben earned the right to decide when he was going to leave. Not everyone's Bill Belichick and is a dick and just going to pick
the head coach,
a Super Bowl winning Tom Brady.
You absolutely have the ability to draft your quarterback or sign your quarterback and coach him up. Like, I don't think that
he still made it to the playoffs with Tiny Hands Pickett. He still never had a losing season. He still was able to get 8 wins with Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph.
I don't think he had.
I don't think you can say that properly.
Which good quarterback has he had since Big Ben?
One shot at a quarterback.
He had two this past year.
One shot,
and they both look bad.
Whoa! No, that's a free agent. And he still won 10 games with 2 dog shit quarterbacks. You can't say that he's able to win games with bad quarterback play.
He's able to
not
win.
Getting
he's
the
got
pick
a
of the
great
litter.
defense. You were just saying it. I'm not saying Tomlin's a bad coach. I'm saying maybe he's not the guy to make the good decision on a quarterback because he hasn't made the good decision on a quarterback. He didn't even draft Ben Roethlisberger. He's kind of like 0 for everything in the quarterback department.
He's 0 for 1. He's had one shot at a quarterback. That's it. It's Kenny Pickett. That's the guy that he drafted. And then he signed Russell Wilson to a no-risk deal and still won 10 games and still made it to the playoffs. There was no risk in signing Russell Wilson. There was no risk in getting Justin Fields because you were just biding time until 2025 to get a quarterback. And now they're going to get Aaron Rodgers, win 10 games, and finally break their not winning in the first round of the playoff streak. And then in 2026,
and are you going to give him credit for Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. I don't know if you give
because it's coaching.
Robert Saleh credit for Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, no, I don't give credit that.
No, but
the
coaching
only
matters.
Spot that's going to take him.
No, coaching matters. If we had Tomlin last year,
but I don't think Tomlin is going to be coaching up Aaron Rodgers. That's
no. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need to be coached up. But let's be real here. Mike Tomlin is the head coach of the New York Jets in 2025. How many games we win? Be real here. How many games do we win in 2025 if Mike Tomlin is our head coach?
I'll be honest, I have no idea. I think coaching was a major problem.
He fixes the kicker. He fixes the kicker. He doesn't have as many. I
have no idea if that's true.
Mike Tomlin, but that's the point. Now you're moving the goalposts. Is he a good head coach or is he a bad head coach?
I think he's a good head coach.
I don't think he's the guy to decide on a
quarterback, though. That could be two different things. You could have a good head coach that just can't get the quarterback right. You could have a coach
because
that always gets the quarterback right, and maybe isn't
name one coach who always gets the quarterback right.
Shanahan.
Getting the quarter. Shanahan, come on,
dude. Everything he touches is a good quarterback.
Trey Lance
sucks, but he got Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins, RG3, Matt Ryan. I could fucking go on and on. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay, so he's the exception. Name
really
another
good
one.
Quarterbacks.
No, totally. No, he's made a lot of really good quarterbacks.
Correct.
And again,
yes.
it comes back to the point of, coaching matters, right? Coaching matters. So if we had a good coach, and again, I don't want to get back to this whole thing because the original mistake is letting go of Rodgers. If we have a good coaching staff, you can win games with Rodgers. That's the right decision because now we don't have to be in this situation. And you're not going to keep Rodgers beyond 2026, or even if you gave him the 2-year deal, you're not going to keep him beyond 2027. So that there's a future there. The problem is you're selling this hope, and that's the issue. The idea that there's hope with a really, really, really bad quarterback in Justin Fields. And if he goes out there and wins 7 games, we've seen this hope before. Zach Wilson gave us hope, and he's a bad quarterback.
Yeah, but we moved off of Zach Wilson. As much as they said Aaron Rodgers was here to reset Zach Wilson, that was never the case. They 100% decided during the whole Mike White era when they had the shirts and everything, they were moving off of Zach Wilson. They were bringing in Aaron Rodgers to rehabilitate Zach Wilson's image, to try and trade him to get any assets back for him after the season, saying, oh, wow, Rodgers is committing for 2 more years. Now we're going to trade Zach Wilson, not because he's bad, but because Rodgers is committed to us. And that was the whole plan the entire time. And what happened was the Achilles popped and you were forced to play Zach Wilson, and then you were screwed. It just the ultimate bad thing happened. I think the Jets are trying to figure out how to get a quarterback in 2026 and trying to make it. I think they're selling hope. I think they're selling a false hope. I think that is a fair determination.
That's the problem.
But
that's the
But
problem.
I understand what they're trying to do.
I want to win games. I'm sick and
So do
tired
I.
of being the laughing
I think
stock
the
of the
players
NFL.
are gonna buy
Justin
Fields, though.
isn't going to get you into the playoffs. Like, I don't care about the player buy-in.
I do.
About is getting to the damn playoffs, because if you can get to the damn playoffs, anything can happen. Did anybody, and I mean anybody, at the beginning of this year book the Broncos going to the playoffs? Did anybody at the beginning of this year book the Commanders going to the playoffs, let alone an NFC championship game? No. Did anybody at the beginning of the years book the Steelers to win 10 football games? No. But once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And we saw that last year. The Kansas City Chiefs were very consistently the worst team in the matchup in the playoffs, and they made it to a Super Bowl. The Commies were not a good football team outside of some of the pieces on defense that I don't know by name. Outside of Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry, they weren't a really good offense. But once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. Everybody had Detroit going to the Super Bowl. Everybody who didn't have Detroit going to the Super Bowl had the Vikings going to the Super Bowl. You know who made it to the NFC Championship? The Commies. That's the point. Get a quarterback that actually can throw the ball accurately at the NFL level. Justin Fields has shown us 5 years of averaging 110 yards a game. You're not going to win games on 110 yards a game. You're just
he's going to have a better
season
season this year, because I believe it. Green Bean's in here saying, clearly the Jets know something the people up here don't. This is what Tiggo's saying right now. That's what it feels like.
Honestly.
Jimmy Jet says, thought Tiggo didn't want to argue Fields again. Where's the mock draft? Okay, let's go through the super chats real quick, then we'll go into the mock draft. Landon says, Fields is a home run. Sign a vet wide receiver short term like a Lockett, Allen type, not Diggs. Sign a veteran tight end like Ingram. Draft Tet in the first round, Watts in the second round, Fannin in the third round. Lead with running game. I definitely want wide receiver, tight end, and tackle as my first 3 picks. Safety is going to be a major need, of course. So I could understand if they wind up going that route. Before we go too far, who do you think the next position, or is there a player out there that you think the Jets are going to try and hit in free agency?
I still think that there is a from what I've been able to like read and see and things like that, I still think that there is an opportunity for the New York Jets to bring back Tyler Conklin. Like, I think if you got Justin Fields, I think like Tyler Conklin makes a ton of sense, because like we know his floor, like he's a good enough blocker, and like we're already paying him a dead cap hit, so you might as well bring him back. And there's some interest there. But like also, if I'm being honest, I don't know if he's signed or like if he's available out there or like what's going on, but there is at least a part of me that goes like, do you give Deontay Johnson like $5 million? Because like, you know, he can block his ass off.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
He's just been on so many teams for like the last 2 years. Was he on 4 teams last year? 3 teams?
No, I get that. Like, I'm just saying, like, is there a world? Because like, I think you got to get like I don't want to keep Lazard.
That's what I was going to say. Is there a world that like you start getting into that conversation? Because I think you were almost there. I'll be honest.
No, that's what, like my thing is like, well, Tyler Boyd is out there. Like you know what I mean? Like, there are guys out there where I look at it and it's like, I just don't want to keep Lazard. I'm done with Lazard. I hate Lazard. Like, I hate Lazard more. Like, I'm done with Lazard. I want him off of my football team. And so like, is there a world in which like I'm not mad at it if you go and get Tyler Boyd? Big slot body, is a good blocker. Like, even if he's like wide receiver 2, like that's fine. Like wide receiver 2, a big blocker in the run game and in those packages. But I think the priority has completely shifted. I think you got to prioritize right tackle, whether that's in the draft, whether that's in free agency. I think you should do both. I think you got to do that. We're well into Jedrick Will's season. You've been preaching that from the mountaintops. And then also like
forever,
just big targets who like can block their ass off and just like can catch anything in their radius. Like, they don't provide much speed. They don't provide much value like outside of that, but I don't think you necessarily need it. A Justin Fields led offense is going to be ground and pound, running the ball, short area throws. Like, that's what you have Garrett Wilson for. That's what you have Malachi Corley for. So like, you're set on those short and intermediate, like RPO type throws. Go replace Alan Lazard, because I don't want him on my football team.
Fair. Victor, thank you so much for the 5 spot. I don't see any comment attached to it, but it's appreciated all the same. Connor Hobson says, Tiggo, all those teams had rookie quarterbacks who impressed. Yeah, I think I don't think 𝐒𝐶 was advocating for drafting a rookie high to have him impress. I think he's more so hoping to have a higher floor at quarterback this year, and I think Winston probably would have provided that. I think Mariota probably provides that. Like I like Mariota. I just don't think. I think the Jets were very intentionally trying to get this locker room in the right headspace. And I do think Fields is a leader at the correct age with enough cachet with the players already in our locker room, with knowing the floor being like pretty low, you could still tank without it being a full-on blatant tank. And I think there is some hope. There is some hope there. And they might be trying to sell us a false hope, knowing that's kind of what the plan is going to be. But I don't know. I agree with Connor here. I think if you're going to take a rookie, that's where the hope is, right? Like we haven't seen these guys in the league. They could be something different. Who knows if the Jets still wind up making something in the draft. Sam says, could we have...
Whoa, signing! That's what the chat is screaming. I just realized that the New York Jets have signed Andre Cisco, 1 year, $10 million deal. Interesting.
Let's see.
So does that mean that Brandon Stevens is going to play...
Corner? Well, he still needs safeties. We tendered Adams.
Him taking a 1 like I actually kind of like the Cisco signing. It's a relatively low cost. Players are going for so much money.
What do you sign him for?
It feels crazy. According to Adam Schefter, Andre Cisco has agreed to a 1 year, $10 million contract with the New York Jets. Deal negotiated by insert name here and insert name here of Athletes First. The Jets have signed a safety. Does that mean that they don't bring back Tony Adams? Because technically we can refuse Tony Adams, because Tony Adams is out there negotiating.
So here is here's the PFF on him. Just because I don't really know a whole heck of a lot about him like at all.
I don't either, but like he hasn't. Like again, if you're looking at just the PFF grades, you're looking at a player like it's aggressively average.
Oh,
you got to remember, like PFF grades are in like the 60s. That's an NFL player. It's an average NFL player. There's some orange in there, and you're not a big fan of that. But like the orange is more in like pass coverage, like in pass rushing, not in coverage.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like
coverage, he had a down year last year, from what it seems.
Like compare this to Tony Adams.
Also didn't play great last year either.
Like you know what I mean? Like if you compare these 4 rows with like Tony Adams' 4 rows, they look kind of similar. And like Tony Adams wasn't great. Like we could definitely use an upgrade, but he also wasn't the worst. You know what I mean?
Well, let's see.
He was in that middle.
I mean, what Tony Adams has been so far, I think we're probably glad we tagged him. I'll put his up on the screen in just a second here. Bam. So this is Tony Adams.
See what I'm saying? It's in the same kind of like there's some green in there. There's some orange in there.
Blue. That blue's looking pretty nice.
Downhill, Tony Adams is a monster, but that was in his rookie year. And he got worse every year according to PFF. And again, let me be very clear. Take PFF with a grain of salt. It's PFF.
100%. Right? This is just a very basic layman's look at this.
Like, it's not even me trying to say like it's just like he looks like we're gonna have to do more research, right? The PFF blurb on him is Cisco had the profile of an ascending young playmaker with a knack of flipping the field after posting 7 interceptions over the 23-24 season. Love that. But his contract year was a bit of a mess as Jacksonville Jaguars took a step back of their own. Cisco was seemingly removed from the starting lineup for weeks 13 and 14, instead rotating in after normally playing nearly every snap and posted career low grades almost across the board. That said, we see time and time again what a messy situation can do to talented players, so perhaps a change of scenery could get Cisco's career back on track. It's aggressively
the nice thing about
money.
Like Aaron Glenn is he's a defensive guy and he's a former defensive back. So like if there's any like position group that you trust him to have success with, it is kind of that position group. The same way Salah with the linebackers and the D linemen like were his forte. Like maybe the secondary is where we start to shine, and getting these guys for, I don't want to say pennies on the dollar, but you know, cheaper than some of the massive contracts that we've been seeing doled out. You know, maybe that's not a bad thing.
From The Athletic, their quick thing, and then we can move on. A third-round pick and a 3-year starter, Cisco brings a good combination of size, athleticism, and ball skill. 8 interceptions, 24 passes defended since 2022. But he needs to become more consistent. He appeared to be involved in several busts as the Jaguars' defense fell apart in 2024. He lost snaps in November and was pulled from the starting lineup for 2 games in December. Primarily a free safety, Cisco has the range to play deep, but has shown enough in run support to merit a varied role. It would not be surprising to see him excel in the right environment. It's a good upside swing.
Yeah, I'm a fan. From that
Stevens,
sort of,
then your box safety?
I don't know.
No, but like 12 million that's CB2 money, right?
You're talking about Stevens?
Yeah, Brandon Stevens.
When I saw the money, that felt like it was
CB2
like
money, right?
Starting cornerback too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's got the flexibility to go to safety, I think that's fine. Like you just get me 4 good, talented DBs, total. I'm kind of all right with that. I mean, you got Carter and Sauce. You got hopefully Isaiah Oliver comes back. I'd like to see that.
Good depth piece.
Yeah.
And I still believe in a lot of our depth and Stiggers and JBC and those guys there. I don't want them to have big roles, but you can see what we're doing with this defense. Stevens, what is Stevens really good at? He's a really damn good tackler. Cisco, what is he good at? He's a really damn good tackler. And but he's also a ball hawking free safety. So Adams was really good at tackling coming downhill. You can see how we're going to play. And it's going to be aggressive as hell on defense. I think defense is going to be fun to watch. Whether it works, I have no idea. I hope it does, because I love high flying, just in your face, just everyone running. Let's uncage Quincy Williams and Jamie and Sherwood. Let's have all of that 4-3 speed on the defense. I want just unnecessary roughness penalties. Won a game,
Love it. Let's see some violence this year.
It's a gladiator
Scott
sport
Foster
for a reason.
saying I'm with 𝐃𝐨𝐦 in here. You got 4 likes on that too. So there's a lot of people clearly not with Ryan, and that's okay. That's fine.
No, look, I think there are more people on your side. And to be clear, in 2 weeks, I'll be there. The Stockholm syndrome will kick in. I'll get my old Zach jersey, and if he's wearing 2, I'll put Fields on the back of it. I'll get some tape. I'll write Fields. I'll get there eventually. It's day 1. Let me sulk. Let me be a moody teenager just for a little bit. I've got a 3-nager who's being moody, so relax.
Dude, my little girl is being very, very moody right now. We took her to the dentist this past weekend. It did not go well. It was not great. She's been a little bit silent the last little bit here. All right. We said we were going to go a mock draft. We got 12 minutes. Let's rip through a mock draft. We got Jets in the 7 pick. We got we're going to put everything in the middle as far as values
Don't
go.
forget to force the trade with Las Vegas.
We're going to force that trade now. So we're going to say So what are we doing? Let's do the Jets with the Raiders, right?
Yeah, it's Jets, Raiders. You just go 70 whatever for 90 whatever, and then just force the trade in the bottom right, and we're good.
All right, 73, 92. So we're going to force that trade. Should we force the trade with Raiders and Geno, or?
No, I think they're...
It's fine enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I don't think it changes the plan. If they're going to draft a quarterback, they're going to draft a quarterback.
Abdul Carter goes 1. Here's how it goes. Abdul Carter 1, Travis Hunter 2, Will Campbell 3, McMillan 4, Graham 5, Cam Ward 6. So that means Jeanty, Warren, Campbell, Starks, Will Johnson, Sanders, all still on the board for the Jets. Let's say we're sticking and picking. We're not making any crazy trades or anything like that. I'm Team Membu here, I think.
Yep.
All right.
Solidify the run game. You need a high-level right tackle. Armand Membu is the only legit, he's going to be a tackle at the next level. And I think those measurables are insane.
I really like this tight end class, too. So, wow, Sanders made it all the way to 2nd. Browns top of the 2nd round.
I would not be surprised.
That's nuts for me.
The Steelers passing on him is interesting, though.
So I do think we need wide receiver. I think it starts to get really dicey beyond the 2nd round at wide receiver. What other position groups? Jaden Higgins jumps out at me.
Who are the tight ends that are here?
Tight ends are... I saw Loveland went.
That was my question. Is it if
Yeah,
Loveland
you got
was
Mason
formed?
Taylor, Arroyo. Like I'm still team Harold Fannin Jr. Like I would.
No, totally. And you can get Taylor, who I think is also like a really good. You can get him at 73, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna say I would prefer to look at wide receiver, and I'll say safety as my 2 spots. So I feel like we're probably in Watts, Higgins.
I'm staring down the barrel of like Higgins here. I'm thinking
Yeah,
wide
same.
receiver over safety, just because like I think we've kind of addressed the safeties
I
with
agree.
the free agent signings. Like we just signed Cisco, we've tagged Adams, and I think he's coming back because I don't think anyone else is going to give Adams 3.2 million. Like if I'm
Yeah.
just being honest, and I think that like if you can get Higgins like 6'4", 215, or Josh or
And got
me,
better
Jack
each
Beck.
year. We talked about
Yeah.
this too. Like
or like
I'm fine
Yeah.
with Higgins. You could talk me into this, especially like as much as we like a lot of us love Warren. I think the tight end class is so good. I think you can roll the dice. So let's go.
at
Let's
this
go Higgins
point, I
here.
think it'd be a reach for Higgins,
Yeah.
like for a tight end. Where like I think this is really good value for Higgins. And like, look, now we're at 73. Terrence Ferguson, Mason Taylor, and Fannin are all on the board here,
Yeah.
and I think that like that's all really good value.
Do we try
I
to
think-
push our luck with one of these guys making it to our next pick
Like, I would do that
from
but
73 to
only-
109?
I would do that, but only if there's an interior defensive lineman, and particularly a big fatty that you're looking at, and you're just like, I need this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is Jamari Caldwell like, you know, like this is like, it is one of these guys, because this is where I think that they might gonna go, like, because it's the risk is, do you risk Jamari Caldwell making it to the next pick, or do you risk one of the tight ends making it to the next pick?
So I
And-
think based on PFF's power rankings, I think
I would
there's
go
a
Mason
shot
Taylor.
Caldwell is going to be there for us at our next pick. I think maybe there's a shot Harold Fannin makes it to us, but I think tight end would be where I'd lean here because I think it gets
I
thin
would
after
too,
that.
and I would look Taylor Ferguson over Fannin. I don't
you-
think you can go Fannin because Fannin is a pass catching tight end. I think we have to remember that Denver ran the most 12 personnel in the NFL last year. You need
Okay.
2 tight ends that can block, and Ferguson and Taylor are both better blockers than Fannin. I love Fannin for his pass catching ability, and like I think that he has the ability to be an upgraded like Mike Gesicki at the NFL level. Right? Like I think he has a potential to be a better Mike Gesicki, because like that's what Mike Gesicki is, right? Like a slot big tight end pass catcher. I think he can do that. I think he can be better than what Gesicki has done. But I think you need an inline block, and I think both Taylor and Ferguson provide both provide that upside over Fannin. So like, do you want the LSU kid or the Oregon kid? That's the way that I would
Just
look at it.
look at all the blue on Fannin's page. Like that, it just gets me giddy. 1,500 yards out
Totally.
of the tight end. Like I do love the idea of just having some high flying weapons, especially like, okay. So we're gonna go Terrence Ferguson or Mason Taylor. Is there one you like more? I'm good either way.
I would go Taylor, East Coast guy, LSU, SEC school. Like he's
All right.
blocking against Georgia every year. Like that's like I would just lean that way. Like
Okay.
on that front.
So we took him. Oh, Harold Fannin Jr.'s here, bastard.
No. But like I think the problem still comes back to it. It's just like Harold Fannin's just not a scheme fit
Yeah.
anymore. That's the problem. I love Harold Fannin. He used to be an insta pick here at 109 for me. I used to not take, and like Caldwell's there, I would take Caldwell every day of the week. Like he used to be an insta pick because I was like, dude, he's gonna be so damn good in the air and in the pass catching. But you have to get your likes out of it at this point, and you have to try to scheme for Justin Fields. You know?
Yeah, but you don't know if Fields is going to be here long term. That's the thing. Like I don't think I'm drafting specifically to build around Fields. I think
you're not.
I think you're signing players to come around Fields right now, but I think you're probably looking to like just take the best player. But like to me, I think Fannin's it here. But what okay, so we still need
I think you have to go Jamari Caldwell here.
Yeah, I was going to say I think we got to go D tackle.
And here's the thing. I'm not saying like I think Fannin isn't a fit, not just because of Fields, but like he's just not your second tight end in a 12 personnel package. He's your slot guy. You put him out wide. You're not gonna operate in the shotgun 5 wide with Justin Fields. Like because like besides Justin Fields, like Detroit just didn't do that all that much. And so Mason Taylor. But I also think like Ja'Marr Caldwell's a stud.
All right, so we took Caldwell. We've got 2
Probably
fifths, 2
shouldn't
sixths.
have taken Mason Taylor, and we should have looked to see if Milroe was on the board. Because this
I
now
think he
draft
was.
is.
I think Milroe was there.
Yeah. We got too hung up on the tight end.
Yeah.
We have to pivot.
I mean, I like me some Milroe. I think there's a
me
real
too.
good shot the Jets are going to take him in the 3rd round too. I really do.
Yeah, I think so too.
If he makes it that far. All right, what other position groups we got that we're trying to hit here?
I think at this point it's just depth, right? Like, are you
BPA.
looking? Like, yeah, I think you're looking like safety. I think you're looking edge. I think you're looking linebacker. Like, I wouldn't be mad at 𝐂𝐵 King here.
Boom, 𝐂𝐵 King it is.
But there we go.
All right.
Like just best edge available, like whoever that is, maybe an interior offensive lineman. We still haven't signed any wide receivers. I like Nick Nash a lot, but like we took Jaden Higgins already.
Yeah, I would say let's
Maybe a
go
corner.
South Carolina corner.
Why not? SEC school. There's a lot of blue on there.
A lot of blue on there.
Why the hell
Go with
not?
the blue. O'Donnell Fortune, because our fortunes are gonna change. All right, I'm getting my quarterback. You can kick rocks.
I was gonna say my pick was my draft crush, John Manheim, get an interior offensive lineman to replace John Simpson in 2026.
I understand it. I
27.
understand it. I
Go get the kicker.
We're getting the kicker. We're rounding this puppy out. There it is. Boom. Now we're feeling all right. Membu becomes a B+ pick. I think this is our highest graded draft you and I have done together. We got a B on this according to PFF.
It's because things are starting to like round out. Like that's what we're starting to see the thing. Like they put Fields on the team, so quarterback is no longer a need. So passing on a quarterback until the 6th round is acceptable to the mock draft simulator. Because like this isn't all that different from a couple of the other drafts that we've done. Like
no,
in the
we
past,
did
you know
Membu
what I
last
mean?
week too, and I think we did. I don't know if we did wide receiver or corner in the 2nd round though.
We did Membu last week, and we got a D for that pick.
Oh yeah, that was like
you know
absurd.
what I mean. But like now this week
they
it's a B,
finally
and it's
updated
just
the
like,
combine rankings or whatever.
yeah.
I love how I still have the theme. I had this theme up the entire time, and I didn't realize that was sitting there. You're gonna be like, why the hell Rodgers and Davante trade? That doesn't make any sense. That's okay.
McCord doesn't make sense.
No, I think if we're
statue.
leaning heavy into the like the Justin Fields style of quarterback, we're probably taking Milroe in the 3rd instead of Mason Taylor, and we're taking Fannin in the 4th.
I know. I think you swap it. Right. Ready? Here's the swap.
Yeah.
Instead of Mason Taylor, think that Milroe is there, and instead of Kyle McCord, Luke Lackey is there.
All right, that's fine.
That's probably where you go, because I do think that the value of a guy like Ja'Marr Caldwell and 𝐂𝐵 King are really, really good. Mm-hmm. And then once you're in that 5th, 6th, you start looking back at tight end. You can look at the Clemson guy. I think his name is like Brenningstool or something like that. Luke Lackey. I'm a big fan of Luke Lackey. I would love to pick up Luke Lackey late. Just because Iowa tight ends, man.
I was going to say tight end you. Yeah, 𝐃𝐨𝐦.
Honestly.
That was a very spirited. I don't think I've been this fired up talking to like you or 𝐷𝐲𝐚𝐧 in quite some time. So that was spirited, if I say so myself. All right, let's give our closing thoughts. We got 1 minute before we kick it over to Bean and 𝐷𝐲𝐚𝐧.
Yeah, man. We'll see. It's day 1. And things can change. There's a lot of signings to be made. The Jets have made 3 signings so far. So there's still a lot of work to be done, and there's still a lot of really interesting things that can still happen. There's still a lot of really good free agents available out there. So who the hell knows? You know, in a couple of days, you're looking at this team and you're just like, whoa, we actually went out and got Amari Cooper, or if that's your cup of tea, and whoa, we brought back Tyler Conklin, and we got Juwan Johnson. We're going big boy. Like, there's a lot of things that can go. Or like even in the opposite, like we go out there and get like a big name interior defensive lineman, and you get another edge, and like you start throwing money. Like we still got we're not
Zadarius
throwing
Smith
out
should be a
big
Jet.
contracts. Yeah,
Zadarius
we're
Smith should be
not
a Jet.
throwing out big contracts.
No.
So like there's still money to spend and there's still things to do. So while we still have like holes, there's still a lot of good players out there. So I think like Cooper Kupp is going to get released. Like maybe I wouldn't entertain that just because he's kind of broken physically. But like, again, there's still a lot of good players. So there's still a lot of work that Moogs and Glenn can do to like recruit and get this team as good as possible for week 1.
Boog, bitch. Get out the way. Tigo, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. This is Talking Jets. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Myself, O'Leary, and Greenbean talking Jets football. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Hit that like button on the way out of here if you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next week.